Okay, let's dive in. Imagine finding a substance described as having two almost completely opposite effects. Well, today we're looking at exactly that kind of case. We're exploring apomorphinum, specifically through the lens of Boericke's homeopathic materia medica.
Right. Apomorphinum, it's an alkaloid, type of chemical you often find in plants. This one's actually derived from the decomposition of morphine.
From morphine, okay. And Boericke's text, that's basically a standard homeopathic reference guide, right?
Exactly. It lists substances, the symptoms they cause or are linked to. It helps practitioners find a match for a patient's condition.
So our goal here is to really understand this substance, apomorphinum, but specifically how this particular text presents it, pulling out the key ideas and, yeah, some surprising bits too.
And the most striking thing right off the bat in Boericke is that duality you mentioned.
Yeah, it really jumps out.
Absolutely. Boericke's description isn't just one-sided. It talks about what we might call its conventional use alongside its homeopathic profile. So get this, hypodermically, meaning injected the source, says a larger dose, about 1/16 of a grain, causes incredibly fast and, effective vomiting.
Wow, how fast?
Like full emesis within 5 to 15 minutes in an adult. It's powerful.
A strong emetic, no doubt. That seems, well, it fits with where it comes from, perhaps. But this is where it gets really interesting, right? Because the same text then describes another use that feels completely different.
It really makes you think about dose and effect, doesn't it? Because Boericke also notes that at a much smaller dose, like 1/30th of a grain or less,
Yeah.
the source says apomorphine acts as a safe and sure hypnotic.
Hypnotic, as in sleep-inducing.
Exactly. It says it can even work in states of delirium, bringing on sleep in about half an hour.
Hold on. So, injected, depending on the amount, this one text describes it as both violently emptying your stomach and putting you soundly to sleep.
That's what Boericke's text lays out for its non-homeopathic uses.
Yeah.
It's quite the contrast, presented side by side.
That duality is, yeah, pretty wild. It really makes you pause.
It certainly does. Yeah. Now, shifting over to how Boericke describes its homeopathic use, which is the main point of a materia medica, after all.
Right.
He really focuses on the substance's ability to cause those dramatic symptoms we just talked about.
So, for homeopathy, that intense vomiting isn't just like a side effect to manage, it's actually central.
Precisely. Yeah. That forceful action is considered a strong guiding symptom. In homeopathy, that means it's a really characteristic or unusual effect the substance produces, and it helps practitioners match it to a patient who has similar symptoms.
Okay. So what else does Boericke list? What other symptoms kind of go along with this, leading up to that emetic effect?
Well, the text mentions symptoms that come before the vomiting, like really profound nausea, a feeling of exhaustion or lassitude.
It's like being wiped out.
Yeah, exactly. And also noticeable increases in secretion, so more sweat, saliva, mucus, even tears.
Interesting. So it's not just about the stomach. It sounds like a broader body response. Fatigue, fluids.
It does suggest a wider systemic picture. And Boericke points to specific situations where it might be indicated homeopathically.
Like what?
Things like pneumonia, but specifically when it's accompanied by vomiting. Also in what the text calls combined alcoholism, especially if there's persistent nausea, maybe constipation, and insomnia.
And I saw it lists other things too, right? More general symptoms.
Oh, yes. The text includes a whole range. Vertigo, dilated pupils, that feeling of needing to vomit but maybe not being able to, a hot sensation, even things like seasickness or reflex vomiting in pregnancy.
So quite a broad symptom picture associated with it in this system.
Definitely suggests a wide reach.
And just to complete the picture from this source, what about the homeopathic dose? Does Boericke mention that?
Yes, the recommended homeopathic dose given is the 3rd to 6th potency, which in homeopathy refers to the level of dilution and preparation.
Okay, got it. So let's just quickly recap. We dove into apomorphinum via Boericke's materia medica. Saw it comes from morphine. Its defining feature in this text is that powerful vomiting.
Seen as a key guiding symptom in homeopathy.
Right, often coming with nausea, that wiped out feeling, increased secretions. Boericke suggests it for specific things like pneumonia with vomiting, certain types of alcoholism, plus that whole range of other symptoms.
And crucially, we kept coming back to that striking duality presented in the source itself. This substance, known homeopathically for symptoms around expulsion and weakness.
It's also described non-homeopathically as a rapid, potent emetic at one dose.
And a reliable hypnotic inducing sleep at a smaller dose.
It really throws into relief how different medical viewpoints, or even just different dosages described in the same text, can show completely different facets of a single substance.
Absolutely.
So, as you think about this, just consider that contrast laid out by Boericke. A substance used powerfully to make someone vomit, but also used to make them sleep. What does that kind of duality described right next to each other in one historical source suggest about, the incredible range of effects substances can potentially have on us, maybe just depending on how they're used or prepared, something to mull over.